The 60s and 70s was the era of rising affluence and additions, but also big changes in public services and infrastructure. The Water Board installs the sewer, so there are no more septic tanks to clean out and you can flush almost anything you like down the toilet. The council curb and channels the street and plants gum trees on what is now called the Nature Strip. At number 1, Fred has traded in the FJ on a new model Red EH, and Fred's sister has moved out after taking her vows as a nun. At number 2, they've filled in the back veranda to create a TV room and separate rooms for the kids. Oh yes, and at number 3, Sid has split with his floozy, leaving Sue, who struggles to pay the mortgage, with Brian doing some mechanical work, but without most of his father's tools. After failing to keep up the mortgage payments, Sue is forced to sell. She and the girls move to the grandparents' farm. Brian gets a job, goes to night school, and boards with friends in the next suburb. The new owners, Greg and Ruth, have 3 young children, are a bit younger themselves and more flash than Sid and Sue. The red gum is now huge, which Ruth loves, but she hates the greasy mechanics garage. They knock down the garage, build a new double garage games room, concrete the drive, and plant native shrubs and trees everywhere. Mario and Angela are coming up in the world, having bought a car, and the neighbours are surprised when they knock down the veranda and build a brick semi-outdoor kitchen and entertaining area where they make pasta, salami and wine with the rellies. The veggie garden is now abandoned, but they get the tomatoes, meat and grapes from mates up on the Murray. The neighbours on the north side dobbed Mario into the council for building without a permit. He had to get an engineer mate to certify the building and then planted a cypress hedge to screen out the neighbours. It's on the north side, but they can't see in anymore. Oh, and the olive grove has been reduced to 1. How come? Olive trees are really tough. Well, Dino's younger brother left the goat tethered in the front yard and it ringbarked the trees. They would have recovered, but Angela's been complaining about how the kids don't help pick the olives. So Mario chainsawed the trees down and poisoned the stumps, but somehow one managed to grow back. Back at number 3, Greg is spending a lot of time on his gym equipment in the games room. But after a health crisis, he starts a veggie garden in one of the few patches that still gets sun. After a couple of seasons, he gives up growing veggies because the huge red gum is sucking all the water and fertility from his garden beds. Then in a storm, the red gum splits and crushes the hill's hoist. Ruth is heartbroken at the loss of the tree, but not the hill's hoist, which they've replaced with a clothes dryer. Back at Harold and Marge's, Graham has left home, Lucy and Gerald are teenagers, and Lucy's been reading Grassroots magazine and talking to Hilda next door about chooks. With help from Fred, she builds a chook house and starts her own flock. Her parents are a bit worried that she's spending a lot of time with the chooks and not much on her studies. They're also very concerned the way she seems to prance around proudly with her nail belt and hammer on, which they don't think is very good for a young girl to be doing. Built area and paving has increased while the number of people has gone down, and people are spending more time away from home more time at home is in front of the TV. Greenhouse gas emissions have rocketed up with growing children and greater affluence. Greg's veggie patch and Lucy's chooks are small markers of the enthusiasm for self-reliance, including permaculture, that bucked the trend for a while in the 70s.